live. Hey, everybody. It is a Sunday night. It is Atop the Fourth Wall plays Red Dead Redemption 2. Sorry, I was finishing chewing something. So, we are back with some cowboy streaming. The convention last weekend was great. Had a lot of fun. And not much else to say. Joining us this evening, and of course, I'm still working on the US 1 review. I was, obviously that was not going to come out on Monday like I had hoped, but it's coming along. The scripting is almost done. I'm going to try to go for Tuesday, Wednesday at the latest, hopefully. Anytime I give dates, everything seems to just, fall apart. So, on that note, joining me this evening, we've got Lotus Prince.
Good evening, everyone.
And we've got Eliza.
I'm here like always.
And we've got some cowboying to do. What happened in the last 2 weeks? Sticky keys kept getting prompted.
Oh, yeah.
We blew up a bridge. We decided the very smart move of taking on the U.S. Army. That didn't backfire or anything. Oh, we got Crimson in the chat.
Greetings.
We loot a lot of bodies. Tuberculosis sucks, and Mika is still an asshole. Yeeing and hawing all night long. Indeedy. The car is using chewy tobacco.
Is it wacky tobacco? The wackiest.
I wouldn't be swallowing it if it was chewing tobacco. That would be very bad. I feel like if I was swallowing chewing tobacco, then that would be then I would be the hardest bastard in the world.
Yeah, really.
That's how you make a parody character, a hardened badass. We're like, oh man, look at that guy over there. He's just a badass. He's like taking a bite of chewing tobacco and swallowing it like it was beef jerky.
I actually remember that happening in a dime novel I found in a library once.
Well, closest I was going to say is, have you seen the Sylvester Stallone movie Over the Top?
I have. It was a long time ago, but it was one of an earlier thing that Riff Tracks did.
Because the crazy guy who's getting ready to arm wrestle, he's got like a big cigar in his mouth, and before he gets started, he just pulls the cigar into his mouth and just chews and swallows, and you're like, it was a lit cigar too, and you're like, oh my god.
I just remember that because it was something that happened in one of those old Buffalo Bill dime novels that they used to make back in the early 1900s. There's a butt ton of them you can find in libraries. And in one of them, supposedly, I don't remember if it was Buffalo Bill himself or one of the other characters in it, they took a bite of chewing tobacco, chewed it, and then swallowed it.
Brutal.
Yeah, the chewing tobacco is meant for chewing, not for swallowing.
And it was supposed
Not that
to
you should
show
be
off
having
how,
anyway, because it'll destroy your gums.
Yeah, it was supposed to show off how hardcore or badass this character was. I'm like, I just got that thinking, well, that's dumb.
Indeed. On that note, let us get to the game. I'm presuming we'll have a full time here, but if we reach a good stopping point at 9:30, I would not be opposed to stopping, because I do have more work and scripting to do. Still more long box scripting to get done, but I'm close to the end. I think I'm down to 5 or 6 now. I'm hoping to film in a few days, but we will see. My Deadeye ability has improved. God darn it, son of a biscuit. Oh, in terms of 3D printer stuff, just gonna switch over here real quick. I'm making the Helmet of Fate right now, but it's coming out in pieces.
Makes sense, 'cause it's a
lots
helmet.
to glue there when that's done. Alright, so if I recall correctly, we decided to go help Sadie with a mission. Let me read this real quick. Kieran, that poor kid we spared from O'Driscoll's gang up in the mountains, is dead, killed by the bastards. He saved my life, and I could not save his. They chopped his head off, tried to kill a lot of us. Mrs. Adler fought braver than any of us. She is driven by powerful forces I scarcely understand. Feel like an animal, da-da-da-da. I feel like there was a different thing unrelated to Sadie here. Log. Treasure hunter. Can't find it. Sadie has asked for a harmonica. Feel like there was an actual specific storyline quest we were gonna do. What? Which version of the Helmet of Fate? I don't know. What I found on Thingiverse. I know it's not the very original one.
You have the rock carving quest up. So did you start that time traveler quest?
We have one geology quest. That's a different quest than the time traveler one.
Okay.
From what I understand. Why do you have the Helmet of Fate? Because I wanted to have it.
Yeah.
I think it'll make a good prop to have on the shelf.
Yeah, right? Like, if I had a 3D printer, I'd be making, like, the Sword of Moonlight or something. Like, why? Because it's cool.
If I had a 3D printer, I'd probably be making keyblades. Lots and lots of custom keyblades.
Right? Like, same idea.
And man, my brother told me about some friends of his who are getting what are they called? A Bamboo Labs X1 Carbon, which is a multi color 3D printer that can do multiple colors at once. The thing's huge too. Like, it's up to like 10 inches, and man, I want, that something like that is going to be the next big upgrade for a 3D printer that I get, if I ever have to upgrade, because I got the Ender 3S1 works great, but like, that thing is like a proper box. It's got a containment in there. It's got a built-in camera, and again, multiple different colors. The problem is, like, an X1 Carbon is like $1,500. The next model down is $1,000 with the system that's an add-on that lets you do multiple printing threads. Just a lot of fun stuff I can do with that, and that's going to be the next thing to build up for. But yeah, Captain 1993. First you kicked the dog. Now you. I missed that one.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that was. I was just gonna say that was it, but you got it.
Kicked the dog. Now I something. I didn't see it. Now you
now you
punched
punched a horse.
I didn't put. That was an accident. Danny found the same helmet. I made a small one for a Bionicle. Nice.
And yeah, there you go.
I made the Arrow vs. Cold Gun. Yeah, I made the Arrow vs. Cold Gun mostly on the old 3D printer, which was much tinier. So it's in a lot more pieces than it would be now if I tried to make it for you.
All right, and I see chat says, when I think of horse punching, I think of Mongo doing it in Blazing Saddles. That scene was incredible.
Yes! Blazing Saddles... Okay, I will say this. I don't think that there is a bad Mel Brooks movie. There are weaker Mel Brooks movies, but there's not a bad one.
I have to think about that. I haven't seen, I'm trying to remember the horror one. Not Young Frankenstein, the other one that's based on Hitchcock movies.
Dracula Dead and Loving It?
Nope. The one based on Hitchcock movies.
Oh, High Anxiety.
High Anxiety. I started watching it, never got very far into it, so I don't know how good High Anxiety is.
It is my favorite Mel Brooks film.
I would probably like it more now. I don't think I got much of the references when I was a kid, but I think the weakest one for me was Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Oh, that movie's just fun, though!
Currently recovering from brother's wedding this weekend, ready to relax with more Tombstone McStealthy. Alright, where is Sadie's quest? I think someone said it was like in Elizabeth?
Yeah, my favorites are going to be like either Young Frankenstein. Spaceballs is kind of up there, but also the one no one ever talks about, which is Silent Movie. That one's amazing.
Silent Movie is the only one I haven't seen of his film. It's
hysterical.
Library.
It's really funny.
Benjamin bet it wasn't an accident. Also, unboxing vid. Yes. I got to get the unboxing vid. I filmed that in June.
And then Alex Ruiz, any future plans to review any more Sentai stuff?
Yes, we got another Patreon on review of a Sentai of more Gokaiger coming up next year.
Oh, and Crimson saying Young Frankenstein and the original producers. The original producers is very good. The original producers has one of my favorite movie quotes of all time when the person that they're going to hire to direct the movie like first shows up and they meet him, and he says something like, Messieurs Bialystok and Bloom, I presume, pardon the pun. And Leo's like, pun? And Bialystok goes, shut up, he thinks he's witty. That was like the greatest line in movie history.
Any plans on playing Baldur's Gate 3? Not really. I mean, it might be something down the road, but I don't have like any real, like, not really any plans at the moment.
It's 151 gigs, so buckle up.
Yeah, that's another thing. I have to I need more hard drive space for some stuff. All right, where the hell are we going? Because I want to do Sadie's quest now, but I'm not sure where the hell that is.
Oh, and multiple people in chat are mentioning Young Frankenstein. I pose a question to the chat. At the end of the movie, there's a moody, it's not exactly dramatic, it's kind of dramatic, a moody shot of the tower of the castle, and you could see Igor, like, melancholily playing an instrument, like you'd expect it to be like a violin or something like Freiberger played, but he is not playing a violin. Does anybody know what instrument he's playing?
I don't, because it's been such a long time since I've seen Young Frankenstein.
It's just very funny to me.
I need to go and take a look at what it is again.
Yeah, I'll give chat a moment to catch up before I give away the answer. I see flute. It is not a flute, but it is an instrument you blow into. Tim says it's a horn instrument. Yes, good. Which one?
Is it a tuba?
Nope.
Is it a cornet?
Nope.
Trumpet.
Nope.
Trombone.
Nope. Let me give you a hint. I know I said horn before, but let me clarify. It is not a brass instrument. It is a horn instrument.
Is it one of those like like Dutch or whatever, like huge horns that you blow into to summon something in the mountains?
You're on the right track, but Classic Watcher got it. It is a shofar. It is literally a ram's horn. It's used in Jewish ceremonies. It's very Mel Brooks.
Yeah, I should have gotten that because freaking.
Of course he would squeeze that in. He can't help it. Hanyamaru says, since you know more about than I do, I wish to ask, if your characters got sucked into a movie, what genre would fit? You pick who you want to cover.
I mean, each of my characters would have like different kind of situations for what they'd most fit in best to, because like, I see Harvey being in like a 1950s like jazz club kind of movie, and we got
Something like a noir.
Yeah, somewhat noirish. 90s dude would obviously be in like Rad or something like that, like a 90s sports movie.
For 90s kid, I was thinking like Bill and Ted, even though that's like late 80s.
Oddly enough, I was going to say for 90s kid, I actually wouldn't be surprised if he wound up in that Care still.
J Manor Productions, hell yeah, cowboy stream during a drawing session. Yep, J Manor. I've seen the initial sketch for the US 1 title card. Looks good. I hope you guys have been enjoying J Manor's title cards for the last 2 months.
I have.
All right, where the hell are we going? We need to know, like, because we were supposed to do the mission with Sadie, but we said we would do it later. But I figured that would put it on the map where we need to go.
Okay. Do you remember the name of the mission? Look it up really quickly.
I do not.
Okay. I'm gonna do a quick Google search to see if I can find something.
I look up Sadie mission.
Harvey
After escape military with Dutch.
Yeah, and someone asked if I would do an entire month devoted to late night double feature. Maybe, but farther down the line, because let's actually get on. Let me fix a few things with the top of fourth wall schedule first before I do that. Which
RJO
it's called
is
Hanging
saying,
Dog Ranch.
Well, RJO is saying you need to do another mission first, so the Sadie mission unlocks if you do not do it immediately.
Okay, so in that case, we'll do the Rain's Fall quest then, which is a bit of a ride. I wonder if there's a way to. I don't see any stations. Well, actually, there might be a train station that we could go to. The Bacchus station. Where is the nearest train station to that?
I see chat mentioning that Moarte would be in Hellraiser and just not mind the situation at all. Maybe it's a little on the nose, but I'm thinking Phantasm because he taught the tall man everything he knows.
Ha! I love it.
To be fair, I wouldn't mind seeing a ninja-style dancer Bob the Clown buddy cop movie.
That would be amazing.
Just nobody's talking.
That's an interesting idea, like a buddy cop movie with where the main characters don't talk to each other, and it's all physical acting where they have to express themselves that way.
Yes.
Just like a full title card covering the screen. You're off the case! Exclamation point.
Not even sign language or anything. They just don't talk at all.
Just facial expressions. Ninja style dancer is just doing 95% eye acting.
The only sound from the two characters comes from every now and then Boffo uses the horn.
Bacchus station is not a train stop. Well, hopefully it's a stagecoach stop because that's where I'm heading.
Ninja style dancer is always silent, but Boffo has Hanna-Barbera cartoon sounds when he pratfalls or whatever.
Do you need to do more comedy buddy cop movies? I miss those.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Howdy there, stranger.
Back in the 90s, they were back in the late 80s and early 90s, they were everywhere.
Danny Fenlon says Harvey Fine voice in a new Ocean's 11 movie. Huh, that's fair.
Hold on a minute now. We're talking to you.
Yeah, you
Oh,
were talking to
no.
me, but I wasn't talking to you because I got things to do.
So,
But he said you have a nice horse.
I know he wants to race it against mine, but I'm not gonna race because I got other mission stuff to do.
We can erase while he's losing so far.
Yep,
Is he following us, constantly asking us to race?
he was,
Hey,
but now he's
hey,
broken
hey.
off.
Ah.
Oh, I like this comment. Ninja Style Dancer gets angry at Buffo, takes his horn, breaks it, throws it away. Buffo just produces another horn.
Ah,
Yes.
It's very like Harpo Marx.
indeed.
Just like whatever, don't even care.
I'm on a mission from God, baby.
Ooh. Harvey Fine voice would be an Evangelion just so he can give us a cover of Fly Me to the Moon for the end credits so the fans will stop complaining.
Fly me to the moon and let me play
Take that,
among the
Sinatra.
stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Hobbs and Shaw, even though it's one of the very few movies in the series I've actually seen. That movie is absurd. Like, it's hysterical. They know what they're doing.
It's even funnier when you think about the fact that Statham and The Rock don't really like each other IRL.
Payoff?
Yeah, that helps with the dynamic. It was the same thing with Fred and Ethel's actors in I Love Lucy. Like, it enhanced their performance. And also, again, to bring up the Marx Brothers, Margaret Dumont and all of the Marx Brothers, like, she genuinely did not find them funny. And, like, repeatedly threatened to, like, quit various productions. And they were like, no, like, this is why you're perfect.
There's a fence, which
Mark-
I might as well visit the fence while we're here, like, because we got a bunch of stuff in there.
Yeah, Margaret Dumont was that, like, prissy, like, oh, well, like, that
I
super
say,
stuffy. Yeah, exactly.
we are not amused.
Oh boy, was she not. It's funny because there are certain scenes where you can tell she looks visibly, like, irritated, like, for real.
I really would like to know why The Rock doesn't like Jason Statham, but as long as they don't say it, then nobody's going. I'm not going to try to guess why.
So that wasn't Statham that was the problem. It was what's his face?
Vin Diesel?
Yeah, Vin Diesel.
Ah,
Because I think that's why Hobbs and Shaw even exists. So,
Yeah.
like, The Rock could, like, be in the series without being with Vin Diesel.
Yeah. All right, we got us a lot to fence. So many rings, so many belt buckles.
the funny thing is, while the most famous buddy cop movies are the Lethal Weapon films, I didn't really care much for the Lethal Weapon films.
I've actually never seen one, shockingly enough.
I do, however, like the parody based on them.
We'll keep that. Platinum engraved belt.
Which was silly as all hell.
Platinum pocket watch. There we go. All right.
Although I think the best buddy cop film of all time is Last Action Hero.
You know, I actually don't think I've seen that one, even though I really like Arnold's movies.
It's a very good movie, in my opinion. All right. Okay. So I think this is the Sadie mission right here.
It's one of those many
Unfortunately,
films.
trains are out of action, so we're in for a long ride, kids.
Well, didn't we blow up a train bridge? So that.
Oh right, yeah, we blew up the train bridge.
Oh yeah, that was the whole thing with the sticky keys, was that you had to keep manipulating that two-man cart.
Yeah. He blew up the train bridge, so of course they're out.
Whoops.
Yeah, whose fault is that?
Probably someone very handsome and clever.
Yeah. Boy, I wish I were that cool.
Although I will say that that's actually pretty cool. The fact that the things that you do in game actually matter.
I know, I love that.
I blew up a bridge. Oh, the train's out.
Yeah, so probably just
Ah.
needed to leave camp in order to actually get to where Sadie was supposed to be.
Zach Fett says, found something out the other day. Are you aware Luthor's hologram president in Dark Knight Strikes Again is supposed to be Prez?
Yep.
Huh.
Like they were gonna have yeah, it was supposed to be like President Rickard, because they do that sometimes in DC where they'll like just to reference Prez, they'll have the current president be President Rickard.
Huh.
Nice.
Because DC has a weird relationship with some books like that, where like they won't make them like completely canon. You're just not thinking fourth dimensionally. Right. I got a problem with that. Yeah. So like DC has a weird relationship with them. They like to reference them, but they don't want to make them like canon, which makes sense considering, Prez. We're not gonna have an actual teenager president. In the continuity.
They could have the character exist in an alternate dimension and have them show up that way.
Oh, sure, they do that all the time too. They're really happy having it be an alternate universe, but they don't want to have them like we're not going to have like the full actual history. It's just like a reference versus a completely canonized. This is the last day to vote in the polls for Event Comics Month 5. It is either today or tomorrow, I want to say. So yeah, if you haven't voted already for Event Comics Month 5, go right ahead. There is a clear, at this point, there is a clear winner in Marvel and DC for the lead. I won't say what they are.
Oh yeah.
But there is still some contentious voting for what's going to be the other two, and I've been really happy about that because it feels like this hasn't been an actual vote where like a lot of good choices are contenders with each other, and I've been really happy about that. Because sometimes with the voting, it's like, well, okay, well, this is just decided already, and versus oh, these are very, very close, like this could go either way in the next couple days. And right now, I am pretty happy with the choices. There was one I really wanted, but I don't think it's going to make it. But otherwise, yeah. If you haven't voted already, please do so. Any patron of $1 or more.
You gotta help me out here, mister. Can you? Please. I've been on the run for days now. If you could help me with these shackles, I just might have a chance.
So how'd you end up like this?
Please, you can do it. Come on. Just shoot the chains off, please. I'm done for otherwise. Hey, whoa, wait a minute now. Just focus on the shackles, that's all. Oh, yes. Yes. Perfect. Ah, thank you. Thank you, mister. I'm afraid I don't have anything to offer you except my gratitude. You're a good man. Thank you.
That's all right. Just go find yourself a new change of clothes.
And don't hurt people.
Yeah, I was kind of reluctant to do so because he didn't say why he was in shackles, but...
Yeah, I was nervous about that. I'm that other vampire guy.
Dude, this is like the third time we've shot your shackles off. Stop getting caught.
Yeah, what are you doing anyways?
I haven't seen History of the World Part 2, so I don't know if that's any good.
I saw the first episode, and so far I'm liking it. I'm very slow in watching live action stuff, sorry.
It's all good. They released Part 2 on Hulu a couple months ago.
Yep, I think it was back in April.
And Hanyamaru says, since we can all agree that Morate would easily be put into a slasher movie, which would you think would be the most appropriate choice?
That's the thing, people keep saying that they expect Morate to be a slasher. He's not really a slasher himself. In a dark horror movie, certainly, but I don't know if he would necessarily fit into a slasher movie.
I feel he'd be more in one of those like suspense type horror films.
Yeah,
I would say someone mentioned Phantasm before. I could see Phantasm definitely, something along those lines.
I mean, I brought that up to use the line,
which you could argue is a slasher. I would not say it's a slasher.
Yeah, it's not quite a slasher, but yeah, no, I brought up Phantasm just because Morte used the line directly. But
I was
I could
was
also,
gonna wait for when we actually got to the storyline, but I was debating with myself that or a different line for the for him to say.
but like no, I picture Morte like if he were in one of those horror movies, I picture him in that like mysterious fortune teller role where the protagonist shows up and they're like, "What do I do about the killer?" And Morte's like, not much. You're probably dead. Bye." And then, like that's the scene.
Yes. This the bridge we blew up?
Oh wow, I could see Morte pulling stuff off in Witchmaster. That's a pretty good one.
Ooh, yeah.
If it's any
Morte would be-
consolation, that hurt
Danny
like
Quinlan
hell.
says yeah, Morte would be in a Goosebumps Tales of the Crypt type movie as the
Oh,
host.
definitely.
Yeah, I mean, he's a horror host anyway.
Yep. Some people said the Long Box movie should be an anthology. It is not. The Long Box movie is scripted.
Ooh.
It's just, it went completely on the back burner during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And now I'm producing independent stuff not related to properties I already made. So, yeah, there you go. Much easier to produce stuff than the budget necessary for the Long Box movie.
Yeah, Wishmaster's got some really good lines. But even the more mundane lines are just really fun when delivered by that guy who plays the Jinn.
I still have not actually ever
92.
seen Wishmaster. I intend to, but I haven't seen it yet.
It's so
Second,
good.
Second, have you ever considered doing a Halloween or a Halloween of just one shots?
A bit, yeah. I've thought about that a few times, but the reason I've been reluctant is because I enjoy doing the franchise for a few years. But it's something that's been on my mind, just to do some one shots and stuff. Like, for instance, like some franchises only have one comic, so like I could do Saw, I could do Phantasm.
The Fourth Wall Kid says, "Have you seen Blue Beetle yet?"
Oh,
if
yes, it
not,
was very
any
good.
thoughts on seeing it? Okay, there you go.
I really want to see it, but I'm not going to a movie theater in Missouri.
He's mine.
Yeah, Wishmaster's great. Imagine the wonders. Like it was like so many wonders, so many splendors. Like he's got a really fun way of delivering his lines.
Okay, you want to hear something really stupid?
Run down,
Back in the 90s,
but spread pretty thin.
I don't remember if it was, okay, back in the 90s, I think it was Stars had a thing where you could like where Stars had a pay-per-view thing as well, where you could pay for 2 movies for the price of one.
Sure.
And guess what they paired Wishmaster up with?
Wishmaster 2.
No,
Scooby-Doo movie.
Batman Forever.
Oh, why not?
And they paired Event Horizon up with Batman and Robin.
Makes perfect sense. That which is eternal cannot die. He's a delight. I was so disappointed when they changed the genie in the 3rd movie. Although that guy in human form still does a fantastic job. It's a very different performance, which I appreciate.
But it's just weird the way what branding that they used to do for the pay-per-view stuff, where you get pay them more money to do stuff like. You're pairing a PG movie with a hard R movie.
I mean, it's probably one for the parents, one for the kids, or something like that. Also, the Fourth Wall Kid says, "Have you ever thought of doing a death battle fight? What would you think your opponent would be?"
Probably another reviewer, I'd imagine, or just like some other comic critics.
Yeah, I mean, you straight up had a rivalry with Dr. Insano, as you demonstrated in your, story retrospective.
Yep.
J Manor Productions says, "If the Judge Dredd movie, the 2012 one, manages to have a sequel, and they get Stallone for a cameo or a role, who do you think he would play as?"
I don't know characters from the Judge Dredd franchise.
Yeah, I don't either. Like, he'd probably be like he'd probably be just a guy with like a couple of lines, like one of the criminals or something. Like, it would be some ironic line, like, "I don't care about the law," or something like that.
Make him Judge Death. That'll be fun.
My experience with Judge Dredd is I read like 5 comics back in the day that I do not remember.
I saw the Stallone movie. That's the long and short of it.
I saw the Stallone movie, and I saw the 2012 movie. Love the 2012 movie, by the way.
Yeah, I keep hearing how good that movie is. I just didn't see it.
Hang on a second, gotta have some corned beef. Nom nom nom.
Although I loved Carl Urban in The Chronicles of Riddick. I know that people think that it's an abomination compared to Pitch Black, but I saw Chronicles first, and I freaking love that movie.
I love the entire Riddick trilogy so far, and I want Vin Diesel to make a fourth one.
I would like a fourth one, but my problem with the third movie is that it's just a remake of the first one, but also a sequel. And the whole time I'm like, I've seen this movie. Like, what are you doing?
Although I will say this, the fact that Vin Diesel has said that if he wants it with a fourth one to bring back characters who died in the first two,
That's corny.
I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense with this. The fact that the second movie was all about a cult that worships the afterlife.
Yeah.
We're not getting any looting options.
But like, I was so bothered in the third movie where he does that, like, remember this line from the first movie where it's like, it ain't me you gotta worry about. And I'm like, I know, you've already been the protagonist of 2 movies and 2 video games. I know it ain't you I gotta worry about. Like, that line actually meant something in the first movie because you're thinking he's built up to be the antagonist the entire time.
Man, take a look at all these bodies on the minimap. We just really killed all the O'Driscolls.
That is a lot of X's.
Okay, now we
Yeah,
can loot.
and then Drew, you keep what you kill.
Hang on a
It's been a long
second, got loot.
time. It's been a long time since I've seen my own blood.
I
Oh, I
can
will
loot
say
bodies
this.
now.
If they do make another Riddick movie, tone down Riddick a bit.
I know. Like, he felt more like a guy who worked out a lot in the first movie, and he's just full on, like, superhuman in the next ones.
Yep. Looting.
I mean, like, Johns in the first movie was able to go toe-to-toe with him. Couldn't quite keep up because he'd gotten a little soft, but, like, Vin Diesel's not a Superman. He's just, like, badass you probably wouldn't want to fight, but he is just untouchable in the later movies.
I mean, I've played the Riddick game. You know, the one that I haven't played both. I think there's 2 of them. I have played one of them.
Yeah, there's Escape from Butcher Bay, and there's Assault on Dark Athena.
I played Butcher's Bay.
Yeah, that's the first one. That's the one that was on 360. It got a port to PS3 way later as a dual pack with Assault on Dark Athena.
You know what you
It
guys
is a
should really be
shockingly
playing?
good first-person game.
Quest for Camelot on Game Boy Color. That's a beloved classic. Have you guys not heard the news about that?
No?
I don't believe so.
Nintendo Switch announced a bunch of new games coming on. Old Game Boy and Nintendo games coming on to Switch's Virtual Console,
Sure.
including like a Kirby game, some other game, and
I might have
Quest
heard
for
about that.
Camelot for Game Boy Color.
That's kind of funny.
Huh.
Like, and no one knows why the hell this is that's coming there. It's like, really?
Probably because the license for it is very freaking cheap.
I guess
Yeah,
so. Was
when
anyone
do you think they're
demanding
gonna-
it?
When do you think they're going to release Little Nicky for the Game Boy Color? Oh, Tevia. Okay, Escape from Butcher Bay was on the original Xbox. My fault.
Yeah, I need to actually like sit down. I've like only seen bits and pieces of Perfect Dark, and I've seen nothing of Chronicles of Riddick, but I know that they're supposed to be good.
Oh wait, you mean Pitch Black, right?
Pitch Black, that's it.
Okay.
Pitch Black is a
It's
great
fun.
movie.
It's fun. Yeah.
I mean, there was this great make. Okay, the reason why I first watched is because in the lead up to the Chronicles of Riddick movie being made, Sci-Fi Channel made this huge documentary about the making of and production of and everything about both Pitch Black and Riddick, which they aired non-stop alongside the movie of Pitch Black for like 24 hours.
There you go. Oh,
It would
Hanyamaro
alternate
says,
between the documentary and the movie.
Hanyamaro says, you really need to have more respect for the dead. Can't you at least say some prayers for them when you kill them?
Rub-a-dub-dub, thanks for the grub.
Yeah,
There
right.
we go.
But Oh, I lost what I was gonna say.
Flash
Oh yeah, a
flashbacks.
couple of people were like, "What, Little Nicky, the Adam Sandler movie?" Yeah, they had a Game Boy Color game. It doesn't look very good, although the animation's better than you'd think. The soundtrack is like amazing,
Wasn't
though.
Little
It's
Nicky like an R-rated
weirdly
movie?
very, very good.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a little Nicky rated R.
I don't know. I never saw it. Wasn't
The
interested.
90s were wild, kids.
To be fair, so were the 80s. The 80s and 90s together are just like, it feels like drugs.
The 80s was making like animated children's shows out of like RoboCop and Rambo.
I know.
Rambo
Rambo
It's
was
Weird.
weird, I think.
Rambo. There was
I-
almost an Aliens one.
Yep. I
we
joked
got an
about
animated movie for Riddick? I
this
did not
in
know
the James Bond Jr. review. It's like, when are we gonna get the greatest of them? John Wick Jr.
Oh god.
Let's see. Other things that nearly had movies in the 80s. There's almost a Predator animated series as well.
That one, I suppose you could have. I could see that one working because like maybe you could have like a friendly predator who's on the team.
That was actually the concept, yes.
Just a second, Sadie. I'm almost done looting.
The concept behind it was there was a bunch of humans teamed up with a friendly predator hunting down several different types of aliens
Also,
that had landed on Earth.
I see chat saying I play Little Nicky for the N64. Like, I don't know if that's some sort of lost realm or whatever, but I don't think that game like officially exists.
There was a Beetlejuice animated series, which is actually freaking nuts and surreal.
Oh, that one's
Yeah, I
very
never
good.
saw
Yeah.
it, but I remember it.
There was
The
a
Beetlejuice
short
animated series is great because basically, like the way you do it is you just tone down the more adult elements. Not sure how you do that with
Yeah.
Rambo when 90% of it is shooting, but still. Or like you
Yeah.
know Vietnam,
Yeah.
and of course you definitely tone down the Vietnam War stuff.
They made a
Yeah.
Highlander cartoon, and then they made a Jaguar, an Atari Jaguar game based on that cartoon.
Yep.
The Highlander cartoon is something I find fascinating.
Such a
Because-
bizarre series of choices necessary to get to that point.
It is so bad that it circles around to being like just the greatest thing to mock.
Damn. Also, there's the Mask cartoon. Yeah, but to be fair, that was more coming off the movie, which was a watered down version. Not watered down, but a toned down version of the comic.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was the Toxic Crusader, which is based off the Toxic Avenger.
Have a good night, Crimson.
Good night, Crimson.
Well, yeah, Trev, yeah, Mighty Ducks got an animated series, but Mighty Ducks wasn't a hardcore, like, I can't believe they made a kids version. Like, Mighty Ducks was already for kids.
They already
Yeah, but
made a weird, and that was weird already because they instead of like focusing on the kids on the hockey team, they made them like alien ducks.
They're actually ducks.
Yep.
I actually love the animated series of the Mighty Ducks. Unironically, it is so good.
But my memories of him,
Ducks rock.
they still pure.
Ducks rock.
Even got that.
Yes, Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm. That show. Oh god.
Watch
Yeah, it's
Bayless's
also
reviews
alright.
of Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm. It's not very good.
Yeah,
It is not, but it is also exceedingly memeable.
yeah, like, it's combat time is, like, the greatest line.
It's
We need a
co-
plan. I've got one. It's combat time. It just runs in. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
That is Sonya Blaze's entire character for that show.
It's so funny.
Sonya Blaze's entire character. It's combat time.
Yeah, Nightwolf as Donatello was really bizarre. Nightwolf is like the computer hacker guy.
Like, she is
He's
just
like the guy back
soaking
at
in
base.
blood.
Like, I
How
got a
many-
signal for you.
How close did you get to a lot of these people? Like that guy must have gushed out like crazy.
Yeah.
Like the Evil Dead trap door.
Oh wait, Clockwork. Quan Chi was in. Are you sure
Quan Chi-
Quan Chi was in Defenders of the Realm first? I thought he was in the live action like Conquest first.
He was in both first. He was in both the animated and the live action show and the Sub-Zero game before he was in any of the fighting games.
Yeah, I knew about the Sub-Zero game, but like he was in Defenders of the Realm. Jesus. All right.
Yeah. He made appearances in all the shows and the side game before he appeared in the main game.
Amazing. And yeah, Scorpion has that famously terrible like get over here. Like
He
what?
he was also planned to appear in Annihilation, but they cut his character from Annihilation.
What,
Jeez.
Quan Chi?
Yep.
Oh,
Well, that movie
sorry,
had too many
Annihilation. I was
characters
thinking
than it was.
Armageddon.
That movie had too many characters as it was, so like I think that was. Uh-oh.
Well, the
Because
thing with Annihilation was it was basically Mortal Kombat 3, and Quan Chi is not in Mortal Kombat 3. Although, to be fair, Shinnok isn't either, but oh well. They just made him a guy wearing a hood, but it's fine. But, like, no, for a second I thought you were saying he wasn't in Armageddon. I was like, literally every Mortal Kombat character at the time was in...
No, I said Annihilation, not Armageddon.
Yeah, Annihilation... As cheesy as that movie is, I genuinely give it respect for following very specific pieces of the lore that you'd have to read, like the manual from the Sega Genesis game or the Super Nintendo game to like pick up on. Like it's a relatively faithful adaptation as far as like the environment is concerned. It's just like what's like the basic plot is dumb as hell.
Also, the fact that the thing that I give Annihilation credit for, even though it's a bad movie, I give it credit for this. It does a great job of taking 3 hacked-up scripts and making it work.
Yeah. Oh, Linkara, Zach Fett says, no spoilers, but you're going to want to make sure your honor is high before you go much further.
How high is our honor?
And Tevya, no, it did not follow Mortal Kombat 2's story, but it did follow Mortal Kombat 3's story.
Yep. Here's the thing, it was actually originally supposed to... Okay, Mortal Kombat Annihilation was actually not supposed to be what it was. It was originally supposed to follow more of the Mortal Kombat 2 script storyline. But here's the thing. Crap, what's his name? His name just escaped my mind. The director who went on to go and make all the Resident Evil films.
Oh, Paul W.S. Anderson?
Yeah, he left because he did not want to be the person who... He did not want to make a sequel at the time. He did not want to be known as somebody who makes sequels.
Boy, that's ironic, but alright.
But, so, before he left, he was initially planning on making a sequel that was entirely based on Mortal Kombat 2. And there was a script made for a Mortal Kombat 2 production, in which all the actors would have returned.
And all we got was Liu Kang and then Johnny Cage on the condition that he dies instantly, like in what's her name, Lewis in RoboCop 3.
Yep.
But then Paul Anderson left, and so did most of the cast with him. So they initially decided to write up a new script treatment that would only feature Liu Kang and Katana. But
I gotta say, by the way, the actor for Shao Kahn really looked like he was having fun. Like, that guy's great.
But then another director came in and didn't like the Liu Kang Katana thing because they thought Mortal Kombat should be an ensemble movie.
Yeah, but the problem is Mortal Kombat 3 has like 100 characters.
So they commissioned another script. But they didn't like that script either because it was too big budget. So what they did was, they did their best taking elements of all 3 scripts, worked it all together, and somehow made a movie.
Not a very good movie, but a movie. Whoops, sorry.
I love that movie. It's dumb as hell, but I will watch it anytime you ask me to.
Just leave me alone.
I'm gonna go pay my bounties real quick just to get that off my track.
My big complaint is that Shiva never did anything. Like, finally her big scene, like, oh, you're going nowhere, guys, and then she just gets crushed by the cage instantly. She never fights in the entire movie.
Which is funny, because there was actually, in one of the scripts, there was actually a full-on fight scene with her.
It sounds like a pain in the ass to do, but, like, still, I was disappointed that she was so prominent and then never did anything.
That was one of their budget-saving things, as well as removing an entire scene where, Sonya and Jax would have been in a Tekunin factory and have to fight all kinds of different Tekunin.
They kind of put that in Mortal Kombat Deception.
Yeah, only for them to have to escape as the building explodes. However, they
that was Mortal Kombat Deception.
They kept in the building explosion, and when they shifted it to a lab, so they just... Because they had already shot the Tekunin factory exploding, which is why the lab that they're in changes where it is in the world at the end of that scene where they're jumping away from the large explosion.
Don't worry, it's fine. By the way, also, Kid Me was frustrated when they were fighting Smoke, and he was using, like, Sector's missile. I was like, what happened to your Scorpion harpoon?
A lot of the things in that film was basically,
You know what Kid Me didn't like? Kid Me didn't like the fact that they were using the more outwardly armored robot designs for them. I know that's like, that's the game they were following at the time, but I always prefer them when they were wearing the ninja masks and everything.
Yeah,
So I thought those just looked better.
I actually do like the Tekunin as adversaries because it's like this great thing of actual old school ninjas versus these robots that are more modern ninjas, and it's like a cool concept.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting idea that they didn't really have time to elaborate on, because that's a whole plot by itself, is that, like, Sub-Zero and Smoke were against being mechanized, so now they're, the Lin Kuei are just effectively bad guys, and they're like, oh shit, I never asked for this, and they're, like, escaping Cyrax and Sector.
Yeah. Also, Sub-Zero was supposed to be a more prominent character in Annihilation, but then we only got one scene.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, there's all these... If you go back and read the original scripts for Annihilation, it is so insane the amount of cuts they made to that.
Just stuff that would have made sense to include. The stuff they kept in, but removed all the future context that actually made sense for it to be there. So you could have just, like, cut this down and made it make a lot more sense.
There's also that one bit where one of, I think it was Rain, is giving a report. They just mentioned that they, like, off-screen killed Cabal and Stryker. And even though, like, their name drops, I get it. Names you've heard of. But it cracks me up that they would, like, even think about Stryker. Stryker's just, like, a guy. Like,
oh no, they killed Stryker!
Okay,
yeah, not Stryker. With his
here's the reason
head.
why. Because Cabal and Stryker were actually supposed to be in one of the earlier drafts of the script, where they would have helped Sonya Blade get to the Tekunin factory that Jax had already infiltrated, and they would die on the way to the Tekunin factory.
Cabal's a member of the Black Dragon. Why would he help?
Because Earth's being invaded.
I mean,
no
yeah, but,
profit.
like, they
There's
still
no
have good guys
profit.
and bad guys. Like, fuck it.
It's the same reason why he kind of sides with the good guys in some of the other games and stuff, because the Earth's being invaded, there's no money, and Earth being taken over.
The Earth is where I keep all my stuff.
Also, remember, Cabal was a member of the Black Dragon, but also infiltrating the police.
Yeah, it's fair.
He was Stryker's partner. But yeah, that was the context there. The reason why they mentioned them being killed is because the context was they had teamed up with Sonya to get to the Tekunin factory and died so that way they could help her get there.
Why is it so hard to make a proper Mortal Kombat property? I mean, obviously the original movie is the closest we get, but it's still, like, not that... I mean, it's good, but it's not great.
Well, the original movie is literally just a fighting tournament, and that's what Mortal Kombat was at the time. So, like, there you go. You can't screw that up.
Why is it so hard to make it work properly? Because they keep changing a bunch of stuff in order to make it work. Let's not even talk about Resident Evil and everything there.
Every single... Mortal Kombat would make for a very good long-form TV show where every game is its own season.
Hey, they tried a couple TV shows once.
Yeah! No,
yeah, like during the time when they did not have the budget nor the care for it.
Yeah, right. But I see chat mentioning that in Mortal Kombat 3, Kano was helping Shao Kahn use Earth's weapons, which actually is quite clever, but unfortunately they killed him in the first movie, so they can't follow that plot line.
Also, you have to remember that most of the Black Dragon didn't really like Kano by the time of 3 because they viewed him as a traitor. There's a lot of lore there.
Kano only cares about himself.
Well, like you say, there's room for, like, a prestige format streaming show for, like, 8 to 10 episodes where like we adapt each game per season. I feel like you're right. There's a premise there.
Yep.
Like we never get streaming stuff that makes sense to do in streaming form. We always gonna have, like, just the weirdest stuff.
Kind of like how I think Animorphs would make for a very good streaming show, but instead they're making it a movie. Okay, then.
Okay, well, I don't think that's gonna work out the way you hope, but all right.
Yeah, that'll be really good for, like, the first 2 books maybe, and then you're just done.
Okay, you're planning on making a movie trilogy. Hopefully you know what you're doing there. Animorphs would make a much better TV show than a trilogy of movies, but good job there, Netflix. I hope you know what you're doing.
Look, the only important thing is they need to stay true to the original TV series and have the flashlights that are laser beams. And I don't mean, and I keep saying this. I gotta keep saying this. I don't mean, they use flashlights as props. No, they're just flashlights. Yep. They turn on the flashlight. It is a flashlight beam, and it is the, I'm trying to remember the name of the Dracon beams or whatever the hell they were called back then.
Oh, good memory.
I watched the Animorphs TV series, and I still wish there was a full version of that theme song.
And yes, they are making an Animorphs movie, which has the hopes of turning it into a trilogy if the first one does well.
Here's a better idea. Don't do that. and make a series because it's like 50 books.
Yes! Actually, it's
And,
more
and
like...
it gets, and it's just going to get increasingly dark, and the less time you have to get it to a natural dark endpoint. Like, you don't have to end on the cliffhanger like the books did, but... Like, there's a lot of stuff that happens in there that I don't think you could fit into 3 movies. You're going to have to, trim over.
Oh, Zach
92.
says,
All right, Linkara, you convinced me. After years of being entertained by you, I'm finally becoming a patron. Keep doing what you do.
Thank you so much, Zach Fed. Remember, you don't have to be like a major one. Even the $1 tier gives you access to the Discord and voting in event and stuff like polls like Event Comics Month. Look out, he's got a flashlight.
But yeah, the fact that they announced that Netflix announced that they are making an Animorphs movie with the plans of turning into Shirley made me go. Because this was announced like last year, and as soon as they announced it, I went, okay, nope, this is fine.
I'm sorry.
I
Suppose I lack the grandeur of a conventional king. I don't know too many kings.
I don't get why you wouldn't just make a TV show. Netflix, you got the rights to Animorphs. Why aren't you making a TV show?
2 women were assaulted.
because if they did, they'd cancel it after 1, God forbid, 2 seasons.
Well, no, Netflix always greenlights everything for 2 seasons initially.
So they cancel after 2 seasons.
No, they just don't renew it. It's a lot easier to not renew than it is to cancel.
And also the gentlest. I'm a great disappointment to my son. Your son seems to want a war. My son thinks there is glory in death.
That's something a lot of people get wrong about
Maybe you're right.
Netflix.
But for me,
Hanyamaro says, to be fair, patronage gets you a lot of benefits. I mean, I got a 12-issue long review out of it.
I never could equate it with victory. Glory has come.
It's very rare that I let that happen, though.
Maybe. Maybe not, I don't know. I've killed a lot of people. For a whole lot of dumb reasons, and I ain't never seen much glory in it. Well, your friend, Mr. Vanderlyn, he talks a lot. I don't know him, but my son is easily lit. I'm not sure I get you. Well, perhaps we could go for a ride. I'm an old man.
I like this
My
guy.
whole life I have tried to bring peace. But I ain't doing so good. Then maybe you can take pity on my plight. Please, it won't take long. Maybe I can help you with that cough.
J-Man Productions says, I feel the Disney remakes would get less backlash if they were new live adaptations of the books instead of remakes from the animated ones.
I mean, that's the reason why I like Maleficent.
It's an honor, sir.
How can
It's
I
a
help
completely new take based on the source material rather than a re-adaptation of the Disney original.
It's not good news, I'm afraid. May I ride with you for a little?
you? Of
All right, we got a lot of plot. I feel like we're going to still have tons and tons of exposition coming down here.
I want to show you a sight up in the mountains.
I want to show you some of the mountains like the sacred to be. Yeah, it's where the UFO once visited us.
And healing.
In Mike Manhattan, technically Netflix still has them listed as 2 seasons in their contracts. But yes, they are technically greenlighting 1 season, then splitting them in half
As I mentioned, I did speak again.
to make it 2 seasons. But it's still in the contract listed that as 2 seasons.
Appears the oil company
Contract law is annoying.
able to move forward with drilling on the reservation's land.
I supposed as much. So what does that mean for us now?
I'm not sure just yet. I didn't get the impression.
Because you can put almost anything in a contract law thing.
I'm very sorry, sir. I did everything.
Oh yeah, I am. Okay, no spoilers on the One Piece live action, but I've watched the first 2 episodes so far. I'm going to be watching 2 more tomorrow because I do this thing whenever I'm watching a live action show. I watch 2 episodes and then I wait and then I watch another 2 episodes and so on and so on.
Sure, I can help.
I am slow at watching live action shows because I don't like
Come meet me on the reservation when
I
you
don't
can.
like marathoning live action
Much
TV.
appreciated, Mr. Morgan.
I'm fine with marathoning it, but usually I like, because I don't have a lot of free time, usually I'm just doing it while I'm editing and whatnot. There's still a lot that I have a backlog on that I need to watch. Still have a bunch of MCU shows I need to see. Especially need to see Miss Marvel before the Marvels comes out.
You should. Miss Marvel might have been what is my second favorite of the Marvel live the Marvel Disney Plus shows.
If that was also my son's.
My favorite was What If.
I'm pretty sure.
No, I'm pretty sure it had nothing to do with that bridge getting destroyed.
continue on this way. I'm going to look for some herbs to give you. See the wolves over there feasting on that horse?
Make it to me. Tommy says, "What show got cut in half? I just got here."
I was talking about how Netflix does stuff and how they, in their contract, they list things as 2 seasons, but it's technically them just greenlighting a 1 normal length season and then just cutting it in half.
Netflix is kind of scummy.
There was no need to harm them. Easy.
But
I say, well, of course they're kind of scummy. The writers are striking against them for that reason.
Yep. Netflix is basically one of the things that made it so the writer's strike was necessary. Netflix, Disney Plus, Peacock, whatever the hell. What's Paramount's service called? Is that just called Paramount Plus?
Yeah.
Let's keep moving.
All of these streaming services is basically the reason why there's the strike. Granted, the other reason is because of them trying to cut down on how much you will get paid for normal television shows as well. And that's not exactly a good thing due to the fact that the cost of living has gone up.
Find a way to help eagle flies, but I worry that won't be the end of it. Dutch seems hell bent.
But yeah, that's real world stuff. So let's not talk about that for too long.
This ain't easy to say, but I just don't trust he's doing all this entirely out of solidarity.
But I do like what I've seen of One Piece so far. I loved what they did in the first 2 episodes. I'm looking forward to the next 2 episodes. And I'll probably be finishing up One Piece by the end of the month.
To me, Mr. Morgan. Let me give this some more thought.
And I honestly think Disney does have could make better usage of their live action remakes if they actually tried something new with them instead rather than, hey, let's remake this movie you've already seen before, like they did with the live action quote unquote live action. It's not live action, it's just CGI animated versus freaking 2D animation Lion King remake.
Yeah, they're planning on making a sequel to that, and that baffles me. Like, how successful was that to warrant doing that?
To be fair, it actually did exceptionally well.
Criminy.
Because it's Lion King. But the thing
No
is,
accounting for taste.
It's not even a sequel they're making, it's a prequel.
Sure, I guess.
It's about young Mufasa.
Okay.
You know, I've always wanted to know the deep lore of Mufasa, so this is perfectly scratching my itch.
Here's the thing, though. There actually is already a book, a Disney pocket book from the 90s about the lore of young Mufasa, where it reveals their father was a dick.
You know,
Who literally named... Scar's real name was basically the Swahili word for trash.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
about him much. No, what was his
To be fair, the live action Lilo and Stitch is 20 years old.
mother? Eliza, the waitress I met.
Oh god, I just made myself feel bad.
She knew who I was, but my
You know, I've actually been reading Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book. I'm not terribly far in it, but it's interesting to see how there are certain familiar story beats, but a lot of it's executed somewhat differently.
Yep. Like how Ka is a good guy in the book.
was too, I guess.
Yeah, like, they're really leery of him, but they're like, yeah, you got the job done.
I got there one day and saw 2 crosses outside. I knew right away.
But,
Some bastards had
one of the things that I always complain about from the Disney Jungle Book is you couldn't even have a cameo of Ricky Tikki Tavi.
hardened me.
Oh yeah, I still need, like, I mean, I don't think I've ever read Rudyard Kipling except for, like, one particular short story, because I had it in, like, cassette tape read-aloud format when I was a kid, How the Rhinoceros Got Its Skin. That's part of the Just So stories.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I've never read Rudyard Kipling, so I'm excited to be finally getting on that. Like, I recently read Bambi and Bambi's Children. Did you know those were books? And they're actually
Yes.
fascinating. They're really good.
Yes, I did.
They are very good.
But, here's the thing about the Jungle Book technically has 2 primary lead characters that it alternates between stories of Mowgli and Ricky Tikki Tavi.
I thought Ricky Tikki Tavi just entirely had his own story.
No, they're actually the Jungle Book is literally a collection of short stories which included a bunch of Mowgli stories and a bunch of Rikki Tikki Tavi stories.
Okay.
So it turns out Arthur had a son who was killed by bandits.
I'll put these
Yeah.
in your saddlebag.
ZachFet92, animate some African folktales or Arabian Night stories or something. Every time I hear a new live-action remake is coming, I feel like Hawkeye appears from MASH going, we want something else. I don't know I've never seen MASH, so I don't know the character.
But yeah, like Aladdin is like one story out of a lot. Like there's
Oh, yeah.
more room to go with.
You could do some Sinbad stuff. I would love a Disney Sinbad movie.
Yeah. Emperor Seth says this playthrough of Red Dead Redemption 2 is really confusing. You're nearly to the end of it, and you haven't seen one Zelda zombie. Oh! I misread it. I said Red Dead. Re-dead. And it got me.
Ah,
They still got a chance to have a life.
And yet, strangely enough, this game is chock full of gyptos. I can't explain it.
Maybe this ain't all for nothing.
Plenty of corpses in this game, though.
You can still
If you
Oh,
want
yeah.
to see Wall Masters, by the way, play Elden Ring. Those things are fucking terrifying. Those are maybe FromSoft's scariest enemy. They are up there.
You know, I said I'm probably not going to do Baldur's Gate 3, and if I do, like, not for a while, but you know what I should probably do? Because, you know, just be the last person who ever did it, I should play Skyrim.
Oh, I was gonna say Baldur's Gate 1, just to really troll.
Oh,
Where you're playing like D&D 2.5 edition.
yeah, somebody whose first edition of D&D was basically second edition. I actually really love the original Baldur's Gate games.
Never
I only
seen
ever played the
MASH,
first
you guys.
one, I haven't
To
played
be
it.
fair, I've never actually sat through MASH either, but it's fascinating mostly because MASH was once upon a time the most popular show on television.
Nick and Timmy Tommy, I'm wondering that once they run out of animated movies, will they just remake them over again or adapt the animated shows like Gargoyles or Owl House? I can see them adapting a Gargoyles movie. To be fair, I keep on saying they should make a Gargoyles movie and make it part of the MCU.
Oh, by
Hear
the
me out on
way,
this.
Linkara, you might be interested in this, but you know who David Warner is, the actor?
Of course.
Yeah, he's like a prominent antagonist in Baldur's Gate 2, and like I don't know if you've seen the Baldur's Gate games, but they're like old-timey point-and-click isometric adventure games like original Fallout, but like they're largely carried by their voice acting, and man, he kills it.
Not surprising, yeah, because David Warner's amazing. Oh dear, something has happened, and I think people are dead.
Real quick, then,
92.
yeah.
Have you seen the Jungle Book anime? It's pretty good, actually. I have not.
I need to find the Chanupa.
But yeah, I have actually made this is an ongoing thing. How I think that Gargoyles would make for a great addition to the MCU, even though it's not normally a Marvel Comics property.
Help me look around, please.
Disney's Gargoyles would fit in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It'd be a great way to shake things up in the MCU.
Oh yeah, Megabob saying to Lewis, there'll probably be yet another re-release of Skyrim by the time you decide to stream it. Do you remember that hard drive parody article, like, feeling old yet? Skyrim is 10 years old, and 5 years old, and 3 years old, and 2 years old.
I love the fact that Skyrim is pretty much on everything that you can play it on.
Skyrim on Game Boy.
Including VR.
Skyrim is on your Alexa.
Yeah, right.
Could be the next Doom. We're gonna have like Skyrim on pregnancy tests.
Oh, did you hear that Doom just got ported to the original Atari?
That's good shit.
Because why not? I had like an inspect bottle thing a second ago, but I couldn't find it.
No,
JV
JV
Rose-
Rose, no, the Gargoyles movie confirmation was a false thing. It was a lie.
Inspect a flask.
Yeah, but what we are getting is a re-release, like a remaster of the old Sega Genesis game.
Yep.
Which, by the way, has very smooth animation.
Oh, yeah. Because what happened was back in May, Disney said there's going to be a new Gargoyles thing in the future. And everyone jumped on the fact that, oh, it's going to be a movie, and started thinking about which directors were going to be in charge of it, while there was still a writer's strike going on. So I knew immediately when Disney announced in May, during the writer's strike, that a new Gargoyles property was coming, that it could not be a movie. I thought it was just going to be a new video game, not a remaster of an old one.
Yeah, I mean, that game does deserve a remaster, but it seems disingenuous to say a new Gargoyles property when it's, like, an old Gargoyles property. Zach Fett says, no Gargoyles in the MCU. We don't need to subject them to the convoluted mess of superheroes. Just let them have their comic book continuation and leave them alone.
Okay, here's the reason why I think that they would work in the MCU. Think about Broadway going to see Rogers the Musical, and then you just have it in your head already.
Oh, and Hanyamaro says, to be fair, the sky is the limit.
Can you imagine, like, Lexington working with Star Tech or Broadway going to go see Rogers the Musical?
What I see in chat, waiting for Tarantino to the ultimate video game movie. Zork. It's just text. You were eaten by a Gru. God damn it. You know, I've never played any Zork game, although I own them on GOG because they're like dirt cheap by now. I actually have a physical copy of, I think, Zork 3? The old, what was the company? Like Infocom.
You can even have Xanatos was the person who bought the Stark building at the end of Homecoming.
Mega Timmy Tommy says, I want to believe that if the game is successful, there'll be a new Gargoyles thing like a show or movie, like with DuckTales. Woo. Yeah, the DuckTales remaster was really, really good, and we eventually did get a new DuckTales animated series.
Oh, yeah.
The remaster is kind of like everything you wanted in that game. It was really a remake, because it's the old NES game, but it was modernized, it had voice acting. They even had the original Scrooge voice actor do the Scrooge voice, which is incredible. Mario says, you can get the Chenuppa back without killing anyone. You even get a reward from Rainfall if you get it back without violence.
Also, Mike Manhattan, the rumors of that game started after the strikes happened, which means that is also fake. Because no actors can sign on to new movies during the actor strike.
Unless they're breaking union rules.
Yes.
Although, not gonna lie, saying Tom Holland is in it is pretty clever, because he was in Uncharted, which is another Naughty Dog property.
Yeah. People are just making a lot of film rumors right now because there is no news, so when there's no news, there's going to be rumors that are fake.
Yep.
The strikes are literally delaying everything except for small budget productions.
Yeah, like that's the point of a strike. The only stuff that could come out is stuff that was like already made, or like people who are breaking the strike.
Or you're Drew Barrymore.
Or if you get a voucher like Critical Role did, which is why both Critical Role's Bucking as Season 3 and Mighty 9 Season 1 are still coming.
Yeah, like some studios acquiesce to the demands, so like they can go ahead and do their thing.
Yep, it's called gaining a voucher from the unions. Like the production team behind Critical Role did it. Dropout TV, I think, has done it as well. A lot of smaller studios went ahead with acquiescing with the demands and got these vouchers so they could continue doing stuff. But it's the large companies that are not able to get vouchers, for one, because they're the big companies that are being struck against, and two, because they're not acquiescing to the demands.
Yep. All right, I will try to do this stealthily, but no guarantees.
The new Aquaman movie actually finished being filmed and stuff before the strikes happened.
Lost Kingdom, clearly that's the From Software GameCube game. Oh, speaking of which, I missed this, but Chad had asked a while ago, speaking of FromSoft, any plans to play Armored Core 6? I'm assuming that was for Lewis?
Yeah, I've never played any Armored Core games and know nothing about them, so probably not.
To be fair, most people at this point have not. Like, you were either a fan back in the PS2 era or you weren't. Like, I'm a weird exception because I was trying to get on, like, every FromSoft game I could, so I've played, like, a couple of them. But most people who have played 6, like, there were a lot of rumors that Armored Core 6 would be, like, Dark Souls but with robots, and they were surprised when it wasn't. And it's like, dude, we have literally 20 years worth of Armored Core games. You could Google them.
Yeah, here's the thing. I actually knew... Okay, I knew about the Armored Core games before I knew what FromSoft was.
Well, that makes sense. Nobody knew what FromSoft was until, like, Demon's Souls. Armored Core games, like, you probably saw, like, the name, like, Agitac on the cover instead.
Yeah.
Because, like, that was more marketable than FromSoft's name because FromSoft was the company that made weird shit. Like, I think their name was prominent starting in like Demon Souls. If it was in any of the earlier games, then that doesn't matter because nobody fucking played them. How many people do you know have played fucking Ever Grace? Like, no one. So
No.
Demon Souls is where they took off.
Because here's the thing, like you said, it was Agitech that had the logo on there, which I knew about because they're the ones who ported the RPG Maker games to the consoles.
Yeah, Edutech was like the Xseed of its era. Xseed actually was around in the PS2 era, but like Agitech was the company that was bringing over all the weird shit, and Xseed kind of like picked that up more prominently later.
Yeah.
But they brought over like Kingsfield and Armored Core, and like if anybody knew anything about FromSoft back then, they would have been into the Armored Core series, and then the Souls series took off. Armored Core's last game was on the PS3, and then there were 10 full years of just Souls and Sekiro, which is kind of like Souls, and Bloodborne, which is kind of like Souls. And then after Elden Ring won Game of the Year, they're like, guess what, everybody? We're making another Armored Core movie. And everybody lost their minds. They're like, really? And what's funny about that is it's called Armored Core 6. Guess what? It's the 16th game.
Yeah.
Technically 20th, but we didn't get those Japanese-only mobile titles.
Because, like I said, I had one of the first things I ever got that had Edgetech on it was the original RPG Maker on PlayStation 1.
Sure.
Because I love the games where you can make your own RPGs. It's something I like doing for fun. And because I had gotten the back when I was like 99, 2000, I had gotten the pirated, the fan translated version of RPG Maker 98 from Japan. Because America didn't get any of the RPG Maker shit until Agitech released RPG Maker for the PlayStation in 2000.
Yeah, like every so often I hear about RPG Maker like 5 or whatever, and I'm like, I don't remember seeing earlier entries.
And then
I mentioned this before, but the whole Harmony Gold thing, but it's like Super Robot Wars like 30th anniversary, and everyone's like, what do you mean 30th anniversary? We didn't get like anything up until now.
Yeah, the first RPG Maker game in Japan, I think, came out in I want to say 94, and that was RPG Maker 95.
Yeah, that would have been some sort of like PC thing.
Yep, because the original RPG Maker games were for the PC. RPG Maker for the PlayStation was the company that made the RPG Maker games in Japan. I forget the name right now. They wanted to make one that would be more accessible for people on consoles.
It really is fascinating to see like successful games that were made using that kind of program. Like it's not the same game. I think it's like Game Maker, but Corpse Party was made under that, and like
that was actually made with RPG Maker 98.
Oh, the original, but I think like the PSP version might have been on a more advanced program.
Yeah, it was. I think they used RPG Maker 2003 for that.
Okay, because we didn't get the original Corpse Party until like several years ago. It took a while.
Yeah, but those were made with RPG Maker. Because I've actually made a few RPG Maker games myself. I had one that was up online back for free back in like the mid 2000s.
And it's funny because they have like no RPG elements. Like the first game, like not the original game, but the PSP game has like if a ghost touches you, you lose HP, but that only ever occurs once or twice in the entire game, and it really doesn't matter. And then the later games are somewhat similar, but in the original Corpse Party, there's one proper fight, and it's the very end of the game, and you're like, okay. Oh, Zach Fett says, how come Silent Hill 2 and 3 got remasters, but not the first one? That is a damn good question.
Because they did a different kind of remake with the first game with, whatchamacallit.
Shattered Memories?
Yeah, Shattered Memories.
That's a very loose remake.
The RPG Maker games I made were very, very clunky because I am not a programmer, I am a writer.
Plus, the first one's not as popular as the second and third one.
Yeah, but the first one is like still considered one of the greats, and like 2, I think they only had like the beta code, and 3, they replaced the voice actors.
They replaced the voice actors for the second one too. The Silent Hill HD remasters are awful.
Oh yes,
they did replace the voice actors for the second one, but with some pushback. You may also select the original voice actors for 2.
So far the only Silent Hill game I've actually fully played is Silent Hill 2.
That is a very good one.
I want to play more.
Well, 3 is available on PS3 360. Otherwise, 4 got a full HD widescreen proper remaster on PC. You can get that on Steam and GOG.
Hanimaru, are you ever going to stream a Silent Hill game?
Yep, that's the plan for October. We're gonna do the 5th one, Homecoming.
Oh, that's an interesting one. A lot of people hate Homecoming. I genuinely think like it's probably my favorite of the Western Silent Hill games. Oh, and T Elite, I don't think they removed the fog. I think like again, like beta code, I don't think it was like programmed right, but I don't think it was like a conscious decision.
It was actually because the original version had a limited draw distance due to the fact that hardware limitations at the time. They didn't
No, that is true, but like Silent Hill 2 pushed the fog hard, and like when you don't have it so much, it's really like it doesn't look right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it screwed up the fog because they only had like partial code, and they tried their best. I give them credit for what they did do.
Yeah, they put effort in.
Oh yeah. At least they didn't have to do as much work as Square did for the remakes. The remakes of Kingdom Hearts, where literally it was not even a remake. It was a full-on remake of Kingdom Hearts 1.
Yeah, they rebuilt it from the ground up.
Because they had lost everything about the original Kingdom Hearts 1 game. They actually had to play everything through the game and watch videos online to remember where everything was.
You know what's kind of funny, by the way? My Silent Hill experience, like I think I emulated the first one way back in the day, but I bought the game later. But the first Silent Hill games I owned are the ones that people don't really know exist, were the PC versions of 2 and 3.
Okay, now that I know where they are.
But I haven't been able to play Silent Hill for the longest time because in 2007 or 2008, one of my cousins was living with me, and he spilled caramel sauce all over my copy of Silent Hill 2.
Well, good news is that like it was like a $10 game for like a decade and a half before a PS2 game spiked in price.
Yeah. So I had to completely toss my copy of Silent Hill 2.
Yeah, brilliant title. And 4 is interesting. It's not my favorite, but it's a very clever game. Homecoming is, like, I genuinely think the characters and the graphics are solid, and some of the dungeon concepts are very good. It focuses too much on, like, gore, though. That's not really what Silent Hill's about. Also, it is possible to get the joke ending on a first playthrough, which will really sour your experience if you know nothing going in, and that's the ending you get.
Yep. All right, now that I know where it is.
Also, 4 is, I think, the only game without a joke ending. Even the arcade rail shooter has a joke ending.
Yep.
Huh.
I want to say that Silent Hill 4 has a joke ending, but no, I think you're right.
No, it doesn't.
UFO
Yeah,
ending at the very least.
it has a good and a better ending, and it has a bad and a worse ending, but there's no joke ending.
I think there were plans for a UFO ending, but they like ran out of time or something.
Okay.
That's from Square Enix themselves. They said that in a press release back before they came out because they had to completely remake everything in the game because during the whole disaster in Japan, they lost everything for Kingdom Hearts 1.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 2 was a remaster, and was remade.
The English voices are still there because the English voicing, the recordings for the English voices were kept separately from the Japanese studio here in the U.S. So the English voice recordings are the only thing from the original Kingdom Hearts 1 that are 1.5 remake.
Oh, by the way, I'll throw this one out there. Assuming the PlayStation 3 store is still up, and I think it is, Silent Hill 1's only like a few bucks.
Beach.
Homecoming is on Steam.
Yep.
I forgot about that.
I bought it on Steam, so I have that one. That's basically the main reason why I'm doing that one.
I was going to say you're going to have to stream it off a console, but no, that's actually not true. But the other Western games are not on PC, so those are trapped on their respective consoles.
There is a Silent Hill 2 on PC. I can't remember if I have a copy of it or not. I'm pretty sure I just have the PS2 version.
And yes,
yeah, I actually have PC version, but there is a downloadable, like, enhanced version of 2, which makes it more playable on modern systems.
And Megabob, yes, they used both retail copies that they bought and played through, as well as YouTube videos in order to help rebuild Kingdom Hearts 1.
Yeah, they like reverse engineer their own game.
Yep.
saw. I didn't.
But yeah, Origins is on PSP and PS2. Shattered Memories is Wii, PSP, and PS2. And Downpour is PS3 360.
I played Downpour on 360 back when I had one. I might still have one now. I have an Xbox One at the very least.
Yeah, I played it on... I never had an Xbox system, so I played mine on PS3.
We got an intruder. Stop it.
Yeah, right.
Give me a second here. Let me find out where the frick this thing is again. Okay, it's the middle of the camp here. So I'm trying to do this stealthily,
Huh.
but I'm trying to take note of where it is.
Hanamaru!
Stealth sailed.
Screw it. This is just a reconnaissance run.
Oh, my apologies. I missed T Elite's comment. I would like to recommend Astral Chain for a stream, but it's a Switch exclusive, and I don't know how you do with hack and slash games.
I could probably do fine with the hack and slash.
I would like to suggest King's Quest, but I don't think those will ever do that.
Where is it?
I
Where
streamed
is it?
all of them, so you have fun with that. And I'm actually starting to upload Mask of Eternity, which is way better than I thought it would be.
I didn't like it when it came out, but that may also be due to the fact that
Nobody liked it when it came out, because it wasn't King's Quest 6 and 7 again.
I'll have you
But,
know that I am the best at stealth missions.
Mask of Eternity is ambitious. I played it for the first time a few months ago. It's not bad. It's actually pretty good.
my main problem with it was the color palette.
It's pretty muddy.
It is brown.
It has
It is.
colors, but you start at night and it's just but it gets brighter in other areas. There's an area that the swamp area is very, very blue and green.
Over here. Take your hands off that.
Whoop. Something over
And
here.
there's a snow area. The game's actually pretty good looking, and now that it's 20 years later, I downloaded a program that spoofs a Voodoo graphics card. It actually looks pretty good. Infamous Mike Manhattan, you'd like to suggest Ride to Hell Retribution? I have Let's Played that. It is not hilarious. That game's pretty funny for 30 minutes, and then you realize, oh, this is the entire game.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a way of streaming stuff on the Switch. I just have to set it all up, and it's a pain in the ass. All right,
But, I was
another
Let's
reconnaissance.
playing-
I'm just doing reconnaissance runs right now until I figure this out, where
That
it
makes
is
sense.
in the camp.
But yeah, I Let's Played Ride to Hell, and people were like, oh man, this is gonna be hilarious. And then after a few episodes, they're like, alright. It has its funny, glitchy moments. It's the only game I've ever Let's Played where I made, a supercut of, best of moments. But that game is freaking busted. It crashed a couple times on me. Zach Fett says, how about a Five Nights at Freddy's stream for one Halloween?
No.
Also, sadly, Wintertwined has been put on hiatus.
That's a shame. Yeah, we are not promoting Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
Okay, that reconnaissance mission also did not go well. We're doing this until I figure out where it is. Does anyone know in the camp exactly where it is? Because that would save time.
It's behind the two guys in front of the fire.
Behind the two guys in front of the fire. I'm going to confirm that real quick. Actually, what am I doing? I gotta... No, I don't have the sniper rifle with me.
Mike Manhattan, I gotta say, watching people play a game and just going, ugh, this sucks, is not very fun to me. And Hanyamaro says, I know what they say about unconventional strategizing, but I do think that doing the opposite of what you're supposed to do is not a good idea. Ouch. And yes, AF has it. It's unpleasant to play, unpleasant to look at, and just gets boring. Again, it's like I said, the first 30 minutes are pretty funny, and then you realize that this is what you're doing for the next several hours. Oh, Linkara, Mario says you have binoculars. I forgot about that.
Yeah, you do have binoculars.
I sure do.
Also, yeah, Lewis already did Dead Space.
And Dead Space is a solid game, although it's like basically an over-the-shoulder sort of remake of System Shock 2. I think it was originally going to be System Shock 3, and then it didn't happen, so it became its own identity.
Okay,
It's kind
so
of like
behind the two in the camp, so that would be right here. Okay, so
Mhm.
this is where they are. So that's what I need to do to find to get to them. I need to get around to this side. See, these reconnaissance missions are exactly what I needed them to be.
But like, I don't know if you've heard of the DS horror game Dementium: The Ward.
That
but
sounds familiar.
that was pitched to be a Silent Hill game, and Konami said no, so it became its own thing. And then they had the audacity to say like on the case somewhere that it's like it's reminiscent of a couple of games, but they included Silent Hill in there.
Of course.
Kind of like how, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but you probably have. Everyone's probably heard of this.
Right.
Resident Evil was originally supposed to be a remake of Sweet Home.
Oh yeah, I mean that's one of those like technically it is trivia because the mainstream person would not know it, but like people who've been doing video games for a while have probably heard of Sweet Home.
Yeah.
Did you know that Super Mario 2 used to be a game called Doki Doki Panic?
Did you know that
you
Doki
know
Doki Panic
that-
was originally intended to be Super Mario 2?
What?
Did you know Pac-Man was originally called Puck-Man? But
Like, that's one of the
actually,
greatest...
one genuinely interesting piece of trivia, like you may have heard this one before, but you know in Super Mario Brothers, the clouds and the bushes are the same sprite, but just white versus green.
Yep.
But and you may also know in Mario 64, the Boo laugh and the Bowser laugh are the same laugh, just sped up and slowed down. But did you know that in the original Super Mario Brothers, when you beat a level, you know, do 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 do, you know that theme that plays, that's the get the power up theme. Like when they super speed it up, that like that's what that is.
That one I did know. I heard about that one a while ago.
Nice.
But, yeah, Super Mario's... Okay, the funny thing is, people like to say the whole... The Super Mario 2 used to be Doki Doki Panic thing, and it's like, yeah, Super Mario 2 used to be Doki Doki Panic, but Doki Doki Panic was originally intended to be Super Mario Brothers 2.
You know what's fascinating is the little differences in Doki Doki Panic. Like with like Super Mario Brothers 2, like I grew up knowing that theme. Do 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 do, but like Doki Doki Panic's version is slightly different. They like hold the note down instead of like staccato it, and it's just a little different.
Because the reason why they just said made the lost levels in Japan as Super Mario 2 is because the head of Nintendo of Japan at the time thought that what Miyamoto was proposing for Super Mario Bros. 2, which was a more vertically themed game, which wound up becoming Doki Doki Panic, was too different from the more horizontal Mario 1. So he told Shigeru to make just Mario 1 again, but harder.
Oh, I see a comment, by the way. Mortal Kombat was going to be fighting based around Jean-Claude Van Damme. Yeah, Johnny Cage is basically Bloodsport Jean-Claude Van Damme, which is really funny, by the way, because the brand new Mortal Kombat game is actually getting Jean-Claude Van Damme in it, and he uses his, like, ballbuster split move as just, like, part of his combo. It's not, like, a dedicated special move, which is really funny to me.
Exactly 92. Still waiting on that Silent Hill Resident Evil crossover. Seriously, that could be so interesting, and it'll probably never happen.
It'll never happen, and I don't think it should happen. Like those vibes are way too different.
Yes.
What's that?
Like I'm genuinely not interested in a crossover of that nature.
Also, Devil May Cry was originally intended to be Resident Evil 4.
Resident Evil 4 with its fixed camera angles and stuff like that.
Well, to be fair, it was also originally intended to be Resident Evil 3, then Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, I love that Resident Evil 3 came out after Code Veronica, and yet it's on the PS1, and you can, like, run smoothly up and down the stairs, whereas Code Veronica was on the Dreamcast, where you have to press a button to, like, ascend stairs, descend stairs, like in Resident Evil 1 and 2.
It's interesting because Devil May Cry has this interesting long history of originally supposed to be the third Resident Evil game. But it took so long in development that they made Code Veronica, Resident Evil 3, and then restarted Devil May Cry like 3-4 times
Yeah.
And then decided just making its own separate game.
Oh,
Hey, Yamaro, question: Would Silent Hill and Hellraiser work? No.
Yeah,
they're
it's
very
better than
different.
Resident
They
Evil
have very
Silent Hill,
different
but
interpretation.
no.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it would be better than Resident Evil Silent Hill, but no.
Let me attract the horses, get them spooked.
But yeah, Hellraiser is like summoning demons that like fuck with you. Like Silent Hill is more like, well, it depends on the game. Some of them are like you dealing with someone else's like weird manifestations, and 2 is you're dealing with your own.
Yeah, but it's like punishing you. Silent Hill likes to punish you for your transgressions. Hellraiser will reward you for them.
If that's what you see as a reward, they do mention, at least in the novella, some people love us, some people really do not know what they're getting into. Zach Fett says, in your Sandman review, you mentioned something called the Monument Mythos. What exactly is that?
It's an analog horror series. You should check it out. Basically, what if the U.S. monuments were actually hiding monsters?
Oh, that's clever. Silent Hill Twin Peaks is the crossover we need. Oh god.
To be fair, that one could work.
I've already played a Twin Peaks video game. It's called Deadly Premonition.
I'm like 5 seconds away from just ditching and stealth approach and just killing them all.
Oh, and Retro K, it doesn't matter if we kill enemies, except we apparently get some kind of perk or reward if we don't.
Exactly.
Twin Peaks is like the one thing I could actually think could actually work well with crossing over with Silent Hill.
Yeah, Twin Peaks. Yeah, it's just bizarre.
There. Just letting myself get killed.
Yeah. Sure.
Mostly because I don't think that Silent Hill is really a series that or should cross over with anything.
Yeah. You know what I want to see though? Guilty Gear and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
That'd be cool, actually. Now, DC's and Marvel Zombies crossing over would be great.
That'd be weird. They have very different sources of zombies.
I know, which would make it so interesting seeing 2 different types of zombies going up against each other.
Anonymous user says, "R.I.P. US1, all good things. You will not be missed."
I will miss it. Plus, while we're going to be done with the main US1 series, Ulysses has made several other appearances over the years.
As a space trucker.
As a space trucker.
Chaos Nightmare says, "The only thing I know from Monuments Mythos is Nixon is God. That and people in the Death Battle Discord want him to fight Dr. Manhattan."
It's complicated, which technically the Nixon verse is more of a spin-off of the Monument Mythos.
Oh, and Captain Avenger says, "Seen the trailer for Monarch, Legacy of Monsters?"
Nope.
I have not.
Nope. Oof, in the face.
You don't have like a rock to throw at the horses to make them spooked and get them to leave the camp.
Honeymoon says, "Here's an idea. Name one character whom you'd like to see getting stuck in Silent Hill." I don't know. It would have to be someone who, like, guilt affects.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the character I'd want to throw in there, I don't think guilt affects him at all.
Yeah, it would have to be someone who's, like, one of the protagonists who has some, like, heavy baggage.
Because there's a character from a certain piece of fiction I would love to throw there, but I don't think he understands what guilt is.
That's the whole thing. Like you can't throw a full-on villain in there because they just don't care, and they'll be like, "Oh, monster." It'll be like Eddie. Like, I'll just fight the monsters. Fuck it.
Because I want to throw Genma Saotome in there.
Oh, from Ranma?
Yeah.
Took me a second.
Or Gendo Ikari.
Yeah, Gendo Ikari has freaking problems.
Granted, I don't think he understands guilt either.
He has emotions, he just really tries not to show them.
He understands obsession quite well.
Yeah.
He has nothing but, like, the physical embodiment of obsession. Granted, I'm only talking about the original Evangelion, not Rebuild. I know that he's very different in Rebuild.
I can kind of see Spider-Man. His whole life is already Silent Hill, just fucking miserable all the time.
Ooh, I know the perfect person to throw there. I would throw the Punisher there.
That'd be interesting.
That would be interesting, but he's also like 100% aware that like do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, but he's also racked with guilt about a lot of the stuff that he has done.
Okay.
It's the reason why he once said that he would never want to face Ghost Rider because he knows that Ghost Rider would mean his end.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the penance stare.
The problem is this guy keeps getting caught on the thing, so it's hard for me to get in here.
Anonymous says US1 equals look at my trucker hat.
I don't even. This probably doesn't count for the stealth for doing this stealthily.
Well, you didn't kill anyone.
I might have killed one dude here,
Oh.
and he saw me. Screw it. We'll do it one more time.
I actually have a few trucker hats. Although one of them has a trucker hat version of the Raleigh's cap from Slump, which I got at a. I got it at a.
I'm sorry. Where do you think you're going? I'm Jason Voorhees here.
Thrift shop. You can find a lot of interesting, a lot of interesting things at thrift shops sometimes.
Jeez.
Deadpool and Silent Hill would be weird.
Yeah, I'm afraid they would make that like too comical. I know Deadpool does have more serious stories, but like I would just expect them to make it wacky. I'm not a fan. T Elite says, I might as well remember this idea of mine from a while back. Top 10 comics that you review that were rendered pointless.
I'm sorry. Where are you going? Where are you going, man? Where are you going? We're gonna race.
Cyclops and Silent Hill would be interesting because, well, it depends on what era of Cyclops. Because there was that era where he was, like, screw having any type of remorse for the actions I've done. I've already done them. AKA the post-AVX period of Cyclops. Which retained until he died.
Yeah, no, I'm abandoning him so I can fail this mission and go back to the checkpoint again. Hey, whoa! There we go. God damn it! This is not where I wanted to go back to.
You could reload a previous save, right?
I'm gonna have to restart from a different point.
Wolverine in Silent Hill would be amazing.
The problem is this is like the last autosave, and I feel like that's too far back. So I'll just restart mission, and that might help.
Because Wolverine actually does have a lot of remorse
Shoot
and guilt
me!
for all he's done. AKA Wolverine's famous saying, I'm the best at what I do, and what I do isn't very nice.
There we go. Restart
Wolverine
mission, and hopefully that will take me back to a somewhat better point than this.
There's this great comic where Wolverine goes to encounter somebody whose power is literally causing pain and suffering to everyone around them. And Wolverine basically just offers
This is
them
farther back than I wanted to go, but still.
J-Manor Production says, you think current online music is better than recent music by the regular music studios? Most music I listened to recently is fan songs from games.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on the games. It's like I follow songs versus the overall music scene, so I'm probably not the best person to ask about that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't tend to follow like contemporary musicians, so no comment.
Same.
Yes, sir. As I mentioned, I did speak again with the mayor and the Bureau of Indian Affairs.
I usually listen to soundtracks.
But regrettably, the appears the oil company has already received approval to move forward with drilling on the reservation's land.
Batman and Silent Hill would also be kind of good.
So what does that mean for us now?
I'm not sure just yet. I didn't get
I would hope Hi-Fi Rush is a fantastic soundtrack. That's like
I'm very
the game's whole thing. Like you even fight to a rhythm.
Tombstone. I went too far
I
back.
assure you I will continue.
I slept too long backwards.
Would you have time to help me at all?
I'm trying to do the stealth thing, which I think I can pull off now, because like that guy just like gets like stuck.
Oh, I can help.
Yeah, and he's like facing away. I think I can do it without out killing anybody.
On the reservation whenever you can.
Now I'm just remembering the plan, the original Raimi ending for
What's left of that bridge over there?
Army of Darkness.
Which is what we were quoting
Yeah,
there.
that's what I was referencing. Yeah.
Good. Do you know?
Mega Timmy Tommy and ZachFet92, we will read your super chats once they come in.
Pretty sure he had nothing to do with that one.
Oh.
I fear they will find a way to blame it on us.
John Rambo doesn't need Silent Hill. He gets enough shit in the real world.
Take up any more of your
Let's
time.
do the time
see you both
warp
soon.
again.
Sure. Thank you.
I don't see movies until they come to streaming because I'm not going to theater in Missouri.
Yep.
Brutality and beauty are both all around.
I am intersex and trans, and Missouri is not the safest place for someone like me.
Yep.
This is what I try.
ZachFet92, New 52 is where the DC Universe overall took a downward turn. What do you think was Marvel's marker for it? You would know better than me.
I would honestly have to say, the early 2010s to like 2018ish is Marvel's down period.
Hanyumaru says theme song preference with or without lyrics.
Depends
Depends
on
on
the
depends.
theme song. Star Trek without lyrics.
How much you know about
Other shows with lyrics. Like I said, depends on the show itself.
Charles told me.
I have this rule of I prefer animated series to have lyrics in their theme songs. There's a reason for this.
He's been on
Lyrical theme songs actually help children gather their favorite shows much more easier.
Mega Timmy Tommy, Crazy Thought, Muppets in Silent Hill. That'd be interesting.
That'll have to wait.
That wouldn't be anything. It would be like Laura in Silent Hill 2. It would just be like empty buildings, and they'd be like, oh well.
They can pull it off. I mean, they did. I mean, there's dark moments in Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh yeah. Like
I mean, maybe like a Muppet, like Silent Hill 2, like with Muppets, but like the Muppets themselves experiencing Silent Hill, I don't think they would have much to do.
They don't have much darkness in their souls for
Exactly. It's like they would just be like Laura. She's just a little kid. She's like, I locked you in a room and I was trying to troll you, but like
Let's continue.
you're really panicking. What happened in there? And meanwhile, like James had like a boss fight.
Because that's the thing. Like normal people, they don't see anything weird about Silent Hill.
Change a person.
Yeah, so like the Muppets wouldn't have anything. Like again, unless you did like Silent Hill 1 or Silent Hill 2, but like replace the characters with Muppets. Like that would be a different story.
Just as I see it with my son.
Apparently, the Electric Mayhem.
Got this crazy
Actually, no. I'm not gonna reference because it's technically a spoiler, I think. So no spoilers.
chaos.
one of the
Where are you going?
there's one show that I really love
Go so
that I say that the theme song is kind of bad.
Eagle fly.
And not just the theme song, but the
Now he's in jail.
images going along with the theme song, even though it's a really good show, and that's Beast Wars.
Ready to fight.
Yep.
I'm sure Charles will find a way.
I love the techno music, but when you get down to it, it's kind of bad.
Wanted you to know the situation.
Beast War. Even better when you go with the Canadian Beasties.
Beasties!
Da-da-da-da.
God.
Let me give this some more thought.
It is such a bad theme song,
You know,
but it's a good show. But then again, if you have a bad theme song, you need to make up for it with a great show.
don't talk about him much.
Like,
Oh, what was his name?
I'm going to get a lot of hate for this.
Wait, stop.
I think Batman the Animated Series has a bad theme song.
Really?
More about this later.
Yes, I don't like the music that goes with it. I think it's a little bit too upbeat for what it should be.
So what's it like being wrong, Eliza?
How is that even upbeat?
Okay, I feel it should be more that it should be more like the Danny Elfman score. I'm sorry.
Well, funny story about that. Like, they were originally going to get Danny Elfman, but then Danny Elfman directed them to this woman who did a lot of the work for them.
I know.
So basically, you technically are getting a Tim Burton score already.
I just don't think it's as good as it could be.
Or sorry, I got more of a Danny Elfman. Danny Elfman directed them. Sorry.
Although I do like the Superman animated. Although here's I will say this: the Batman theme song is better than the Superman theme song for one reason. While I like the Superman music more, the Batman opening at least has original animation for the opening on Superman 1, which shows clips from the show.
That's fair enough. I think the Superman theme song is really damn good.
I just have a problem with the shows using clips from the show for the opening song. Give us animation for the opening.
Well, as someone who uses a lot of clips for in his opening, I don't necessarily find that a bad thing.
I know, but it works for a review show. Because you're a review. It's a review show.
Doesn't work for a review show because 90% of my show is me sitting on a couch. It's just I happen to have a large collection of other clips that make for much more interesting visuals for the theme song.
But I like when shows give you new animation or original animation for the opening sequence. It's a pet peeve of mine. I know that it doesn't much, but I will always knock a show 1 point for the opening if it gives me reused footage.
I get you.
It's also one of the main reasons why Beast Wars has so many against its opening, because the techno music is good, but it doesn't really fit the tone that well. It just screams the name. I hate things that just scream the name of the show. Like, dear God, please stop that trend of the 90s. Because that was only really a trend in the 90s.
Some of them.
And some shows got to the point where they were doing this to the point where it was beyond stupid.
I hate when shows don't have theme songs at all. They just have 5 seconds of the show's title sequence. That's still terrible.
Oh yes, that is bad. And while I like the song Fat Planet, and it works well as an insert song for Beast Machines, they really should have given a better song for the opening of Beast Machines.
Yep.
It works as a great insert song. Just because something works as a great insert song doesn't mean it should be the opening theme song. Now, if you want a show that I praise for its opening sequence, Men in Black the series.
Men in Black the series is a great intro.
Even though it doesn't have lyrics, and I prefer opening songs with lyrics, it is perfect in how they get everything to match the beat.
Hanyamaro says, what kind of thinking do you think works best when it comes to opening versus ending tune for a show?
I've always said high energy for the opening, low energy for the ending. Because
I'm an agent, baby.
It's why my theme song is the way it is.
I have a slightly different view. I view that the opening theme song should be something that has the same energy, same or slightly above energy for the show.
Oh, it depends on the show. Have you ever watched Madoka Magica? Because the ending theme is all dark, and the opening theme is all typical magical girl, whatever. It's a pretty clever way of handling it. And I just mentioned Paranoia Agent. It's a super peppy opening, and the ending is borderline a lullaby, and it's pretty unsettling in its execution.
And then there's Blake 7, which has the most uncomfortable ending theme song ever, especially if the show ever ends on a dark note. Da-da-dun. Ba-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da.
Wow.
Basically, I feel the opening theme song should be the appetizer to the meal that is the show, and the ending theme song should be the dessert that takes
Blake
you out
7
of
is
it.
especially good for this ending when we got to season 4 and they decided to jazz up the theme song, the ending theme song even more, which season 4 is much darker than the rest of the show. So the higher pitched, peppier, more energy ending for the darker season is even better. Just wonderfully tonal shifts.
Also, Johnny Tong, one of the 2 Iron Man theme songs is great. Because Iron Man Season 1 does not have a great theme song.
Yep.
Season 2, on the other hand, has that great I am Iron Man. and the rhythm of him slamming down the hammer, building the perfect timing.
Yep.
But yeah, my favorite theme songs would always come from the 80s.
They must have been the ones who did this.
Because they would weird high energy on almost everything. Although there are a bunch of bad theme songs from the 80s, like
Well, you got land they want.
Captain Ed.
Oil.
Technically that's early 90s, but I think it started in 89.
According to Tusu, the lyrics of the opening of Paranoia Agent talk about the end of the world. The images they show are just kind of dark.
I signed 3.
Yeah, it's all sorts of like mass destruction culminating with like a nuclear explosion, but it's like supercut with like people laughing and having a good time over it. It's just like,
Well,
Actually,
the laughing,
no, that-
it is kind of disturbing. I've seen Paranoia Agent.
No, my
Yeah, but I mean, just the sound of it, if you don't know the lyrics, it's still upbeat, and the ending is just super low key.
Yeah, but here's the thing. That's supposed to be the juxtaposition of the show itself.
I get it.
It's, the world is a dark place to live in, so why obsess about the dark things when you can just laugh your worries away?
Well, it's
Literally-
also one of the themes of the show, and why trying to escape the horrors of the world using happier imagery, and as a result of it, kind of screwing yourself over.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the show eventually leads into how you should not be doing that.
Yep. Basically, the entire show is basically showing why don't worry, be happy is a bad idea. Weird that there's basically if you break the entire show down to that. Oh, do not make me choose between 92 and Evolution when it comes to X-Men, because I have words on those.
X-Men
Yeah, I have a
animated
lot
is
of them.
better. I'm sorry, I don't have the same kind of reverence and love for X-Men Evolution that other people do.
Yes,
I like-
man, I never really watched. I saw one episode. Like the X-Men '97 opening theme is freaking amazing, but man, shout out to Evolutions.
Evolution's music, I think, is better, but 92 has much better animation going along with it because Evolution clip from the show. It's weird because I love both theme songs. Like, both musical tracks are great. I just like Evolution's track a little bit better because I like that key change in the middle of it.
What's that?
Although the '97 one had two different versions. One had like a more guitar-oriented version.
Granted, I love the fact that the 90s animated show, they decided for America to take the Japanese theme songs in season 4 and make those the ending theme song when they aired it on television.
And I'm trying one more stealth after this, and then I'm just gonna go in there and kill them.
Sure.
Because
Also, I think
we're
I
almost
missed
at
the-
10 o'clock, and I spent way more time on this than I should have.
Also, I think I missed a super chat from a while ago. Connor Harvey says, the fight we didn't know we needed. Robo-Prez from Destroy All Humans, like the video game, versus Nazi Metallo. Vote for me and watch taxes drop as fast as Nazi lifespans. I still don't know Prez.
I've never played Destroy All Humans, and
I heard it's good,
Yeah.
but I've never touched them. There's like two of them, I think.
yeah, one of them is, I think, now free on PlayStation. So I might get around to playing that some.
There are PS2 games, I think.
One of them got ported to the PlayStation or something like that, and is now free. I think I'm not entirely sure.
Hey, I heard something.
There are technically 3 Destroy All Humans games. Okay.
Oh, what do you know? Are we including like the remake or remaster or whatever it is? Oh, the third was 360 only. That explains it. I don't know 360 exclusives very well. It's like Crazy Taxi 3, like the secret Xbox only game.
I had 360 was the first console of that generation that I owned. And it was because of 3 games that came out really early on in the lifespan of the 360 that were all 360 exclusives at the time. A Tales game, Tales of Vesperia. This game called Infinite Undiscovery, which is made by Tri-Ace, which is one of my favorite RPG developers.
What's that?
And lastly, Star Ocean 4. All 3 of those were originally Xbox 360 exclusives. All 3 of them, two of those 3 eventually made their way to the PlayStation 3.
Stuff the Zombie was eventually remastered and it's available on like all current platforms, I think.
So I think the checkpoint has it where I got it. It's stealthily, so...
Yep.
Or not. Oh, my frickin' just... Okay,
Well,
this
still,
is
you
the
were getting
last
close.
time. This is... I'm trying this. I got there stealthily. It was the escape that was the problem.
Too bad you can't save once you get done stealthily, and then...
I know, right?
Yeah, I've heard Stubbs the Zombie had a good soundtrack. I still gotta play it. I got the PS4 version.
There's also... I wound up getting... There's actually a lot of good exclusive RPGs early on in the 360's lifespan. Like
Lost Planet.
Like you had...
Was it Lost Planet or Lost Odyssey?
I think it was called Lost Planet. You also had Eternal Sonata, which is this game where you played as Chopin.
That eventually got a PS3 port.
You had Tales of Vesperia, which eventually got a PS3 port. You had Star Ocean 4, which eventually got a PS3 port. You had Infinite Undiscovery. You had Blue Dragon.
Yeah, Blue Dragon I think is still Xbox exclusive, and there's also a DS. I don't know if it's a sequel or what.
Yeah, it's a sequel, yes. But there was like 20 early, like first 2 years in 360 games that were all RPGs and exclusive.
Well, do you remember on the GameCube, the Capcom 5, and I think only like 3 of them got made, and they all got ported? Well, a Piano 3 is a GameCube exclusive, but Killer 7 and Resident Evil 4 got ported.
Yep.
Resident Evil 4 got ported to fucking everything.
The other 2, there's actually the other 2 that were part of the Capcom 5, I think, were Beautiful Joe, which also got ported to the PlayStation.
Yeah, with that was the one like featuring Dante from Devil May Cry. That's that famous thing came from.
And I think I don't remember what the final one of the Capcom 5 was intended to be.
Actually, wait a minute. Featuring Dante from Devil May Cry. Was that? I mean, I know Beautiful Joe had it, but was that Beautiful Joe or was that SMT Nocturne that said featuring Dante from Devil May Cry?
Let's see, what were the Capcom 5 originally? Beautiful Joe.
At least a couple of them just never got made. But there was Resident Evil 4, Killer 7. Maybe it was Beautiful Joe.
The one you're thinking of,
Joe.
I know which one you're thinking of. That one never made it over to anything else, and it was not very good. Actually, it was Devil's Reign, wasn't it?
Well, no, Piano 3 was made.
Piano 3, Beautiful Joe, Resident Evil 4, Killer 7, and Dead Phoenix, which never got made.
Yeah, Dead Phoenix never got made. Oh, and they mentioned it in chat as well, yeah.
I always forget Dead Phoenix.
Well, because it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I know, but it's something...
I love, by the way, Resident Evil 4. Like, I think Shinji Mikami was quoted as saying, like, if this game ever gets ported to anything, like, you can have my head on a platter. And in God Hand on PS2, you can do, like, dog racing in it. And all the dogs have eccentric names, and one of them is Mikami's head, which is hysterical.
But
well, it looks like you have to get away with it.
Yep, I actually pulled it off, finally. Last thing of the night.
Oh yeah, Blinks the Time Sweeper is going to be the Xbox mascot. Yeah, I remember Blinks. It was a clever idea, but I don't think that game's quite for me.
Yeah.
Stealth mission!
The Xbox 360 in its first like year or two was well known as the RPG console. Like it had more RPGs than any other type of game. And then the shooters started heavily
I died
outweighing
like
it.
16 times finally getting this to you.
The shooters, I think, were like supposed to like help convince Japanese people to buy a 360, so it would have like death smiles and stuff like that. I think it had Steins Gate as well. Oh, and Hanimaro says, Sishin Muccessful. And Mega Timmy Tommy says, there's a 4th Destroy All Humans game on the Wii, Big Willy Unleashed. What? Pox creates a fast food chain to sell human corpses as food, and you control a robot mascot. That's wild.
But
Take this.
It is just the history of video games is just kind of fun.
Thank you. Thank you.
None of this fun is. I've been trying to find more information on the never made Nelvana Doctor Who animated
I
series.
hope you can find peace within yourself.
Like, I keep on trying to find more and more. I keep on finding scraps of information on it. I want to just find every single bit of information I can on it.
Someday, perhaps you will.
Because the fact that Nelvana, the company that made Care Bears, almost made a Doctor Who show in the 80s
Empathetic.
is interesting.
Now I see is wise and thoughtful and sensible. I would love to help him. Or at least stop Dutch pushing his son to do something real stupid.
Hanemaru again. After 10,000 years, you're free from this mission.
Yes.
Time to conquer Earth!
Yeah. Ah, I love that.
Criminy. Okay, yes, we've successfully done it. I'm a save.
Yeah.
I just love what an abrupt opening that is. She's released from her prison. Ah, let's go conquer Earth instantly, right now.
Yep.
Hey, I mean, if you had been stuck in a dumpster for thousands of years, wouldn't you want to conquer the nearest celestial body?
Yeah.
All right, it is 10:02. Is there any other super chats remaining?
No.
That's not.
All right, no $1 ones. That's all. There was a $1 one a little bit up.
Let me double check.
I am the master of stealth missions. Just call me Batman.
Well, Mega
No, we already
Timmy
got- we already
before
got
Destroy All Humans game, but we covered that.
And see, I told you guys the whatchamacallit, the reconnaissance runs paid off.
Yes.
This is what makes us better than real cowboys. We can reload a save.
Yeah,
We have the
right.
ability to transfer our soul to another body of ourselves in a parallel universe that hasn't done the stupid shit that we've already done.
Exactly.
There's a video game where that's like literally what happens when you die.
You're Solid Snake, but with tuberculosis. All right, thank you, everyone. Keep an eye out in the next few days for the finale of US 1. I'll be posting up pictures soon of the new Cybermat I'm designing. We're going to call it a Robomat. And, yeah, I need to go get some food. What's your opinion on the new season of Power Rangers? Well, it's not out yet, so... All right, you guys have yourselves a great rest of the night. Thank you all for joining us. And I want to thank, of course, my wonderful mods, Eliza.
Oh, it's great being here.
And Lotus Prince.
And thank you. And I myself will be streaming Travis Strikes Again tomorrow, and I'll be uploading King's Quest Mask of Eternity now for patrons and in a week for everyone else.
And I think we'll be back also with Mistress Doom on Thursday for more Pokemon Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire Soul Lock. We will see about that. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure she'll be freed up then. She's been doing a charity stream all week. So we'll see you then. Have a good rest of the night.